Alright, in response to a community request, I'm just going to document the technique I used to create the CDC and Squirrel Klinkhammer fly that you see here. I'm by no means an accomplished fly tyer, so just take this for what it is, which is just documenting the process and not necessarily strict instructions on how to tie this style of fly. So the fly we're covering is a pattern that I use on the Cape streams almost solely as my dry fly pattern, and it's tied in various sizes and color combinations, but the idea is that it's a Klinkhammer fly which rides quite low in the water with the Squirrel and CDC hackle effectively providing the buoyancy. The style is also very easy to tie, at least in my opinion, and provides for a very robust fly, which is why I like to do it. Okay, so to get started we need to prepare our brush, and for that we need 2 CDC feathers. They don't have to match, you just need to be very conscious of the amount of CDC, especially if you have high quality CDC. You need to be conscious of the amount that you are putting on. You don't want to overdress your fly. So what we're going to do, take our 2 feathers. I'm then going to use a little bit of squirrel tail, just a little bit, probably about the standard amount that you'd use in a R.A.B. And I'm going to sandwich this between 2 CDC feathers. I'll lay them over. You can then spread them out quite easily over the feather, sort of butter it on. You can tap the butts to align them if you want to, but just a sort of rough distribution across your feather. Then what you can do is take your second feather, place it on top. Again, you don't have to line up too specifically. And then what we have to do is clamp this whole mess and clamp. Okay. So to do that, I take the whole mess, grip it between my fingers, open my clamp as wide as possible, slide it up over the feathers, grab what I need, there we go, and now we're going to trim off that excess. Trim off the excess. Okay. There we go, we now have our prepared brush. Alright, so now we're going to start tying the fly, and this is effectively just a standard Klinkhammer setup. What I'm going to do first is a little bit of a tradition, is on the Cape streams we put in a little red tag or a hotspot. Whether you're into that sort of thing or not, it's up to you. I don't usually worry about tying it down because the other thread's going to overlap. Okay, so I've got a little tag in there, and then I'm going to use a little bit of the black Nano Silk 6/0. Okay, there we go. Is it 6/0? Yeah. Okay, tie that in nice and tight. Okay, get your body down. Just over red end, and then I'm going to use what is effectively a Hardy-Dar wing feather, a biot from the front of that, which isn't a very great material, but I do like its color, so it's quite weak, so you have to be very delicate with it, but I do like the color. It's got a sort of pale gray to it that suits my purpose. Okay, wind the thread up. You need a decent thread body because the next step is you're going to apply, at least in my case, this would vary if you're using wire or something, but I'm going to do a generous dab of super glue so as to just strengthen and reinforce the whole charade, because like I said, the Hardy-Dar is not particularly strong. So gentle winding it up the fly. Okay, I'm pushing a bead of glue, which is great. One more, I think. And there we are. Okay, tie that in. Keep going a little bit back, just to sort of reinforce that top bit. And this is also where we're going to tie in a little bit of Antron. This is our post. So where I normally do my Antron, it's just 1 quite firm wrap, 2, 3. And then what I can do is make my post starting really low down, keeping the bobbin below the hook. And then once you got sort of 2 or 3 wraps, you should be good to go, or not, who knows. This is also a dark art in itself, post baking. Doesn't need to be too hectic, just enough to get by. Okay, wrap it down. And then what we're going to use is a bit of this. It's the really cheap peacock oil. This is just going to be like the thorax. Okay, tie that in. And you can do a couple of wraps to make the thorax. I like a sort of prominent, I like the sort of the flash that peacock curl provides. So I like to have a lot of it. And you can have it right up to the eye, because we don't have to worry about crowding the eye, because we're going to tie off on the post. So I've got a lot of peacock on there. I'm just going to capture it with my thread. And then I'm going to wrap a couple of times through the peacock curl, just to strengthen it, because it's also quite a weak material. Okay, so I've got my thread now facing towards me. I'm now going to do the brush, which I've lost. Okay, the brush is here. So the way we work this out is you got to flatten your thread. So I just use a needle, a bodkin, something like that, just to flatten the thread coming off of the eye. Okay, and then I can even, if you've done it right, you can just split the thread with your needle. Okay, there we go. So you got a reasonable amount of split thread, and then we're going to take our CDC and squirrel, capture it. Okay. Now it's already started spinning a bit, but I'm just going to tap the buttons. I want them really near the string. Lining all the buttons up. And then once I'm good to go, holding tension on the thread, I spin my bobbin. You know what, I'm actually not even ready to do that. What you might also want to do is move your CDC up the fly. There we go. Spin your bobbin. Sorry, move the CDC as close to your post as possible. Let's try again, give it some speed. There we go. Yeah, it'll start to flip on its own, and just gradually get it in there. If you let it spin too quickly, it'll fling off all the squirrel tail. So you can see it's making a nice sort of bottle brush there. Don't know if that's showing up there, but you're getting a nice bottle brush effect. There we go. Once it's tighter, we can now really emphasize that. Okay, so we've got our bottle brush. It's time to just effectively we're going to walk it up the post, and then we're going to hackle it on. And the way we do that is we're going to scoop up, go around, scoop up, go around, scoop up, go around, scoop up, go around, always scooping up. You don't want any fibers on the bottom. Last one. Okay, there we go. So now you can see I've got quite a tall profile there. That's fine for now because we're going to put in our super glue and then we can set it however we like. So we'll let the thread unwind a little bit, and then to finish off the fly, because that's it, we're pretty much done, is I like to use the super glue method where you just super glue on the thread, put some slack in the thread so that it sucks up more of the super glue. And you want a healthy amount because we need the super glue to grip onto the squirrel tail or else that'll come loose. So we'll do a few wraps all around quite tightly, and then we can also just set our squirrel tail as we like. There we go. And the glue takes a second to set, so now we'll just trim off. There we go. And the last thing is just our post. I just start at the top, slide down to the height I need, and stop. There we go. So now you'll see I should have sort of even distribution of squirrel tail throughout the fly. A couple of long ones there. I normally don't like the long ones, so I'll pluck them out. That looks fine, I think. Good enough for the fish that I catch, at least.